On today's show, Klaas van Oosterhout, all the way from Madrid, Spain. The show will start in 30 seconds. It's my Friday, and today is 1 second. Today is Friday. It's my Friday, and I'm Scott Stanfield. Welcome to the show. We're live. I'm in Park City, Utah, and I'm super excited to get going on today's show. Klaas is an amazing guy. I'm a member of his Facebook group, and he's agreed to come on the show at 6 p.m. in Europe. It's 10 a.m. here, and wherever you are, we're live. And welcome people watching on LinkedIn, watching on Facebook, and we're also streaming on YouTube. And so we're going to talk about a range of things today. Fatherhood, we're going to talk about being the best that you can be. His brand is Be the Me I Want to Be. And then also he had really worked on being this fatherhood movement, right? And so me being a father of an 18-year-old and a 13-year-old, those are super important things. So we're going to get started. We've already got a like, and let's see, we've got a comment here who's saying, hey, just Gina Hendricks. She's at Mexico City. We went to high school together. She's got a great restaurant, Nashville Hot Chicken, Hot Mamas, and she's going to be on the show next week. And on Thursday, that's going to be my Throwback Thursday guest. And so we got to catch up. We haven't talked in a long time, but without any further ado here, I'm going to bring Klaas on here, and we're going to get started. All right, so here we go. Got to make a couple adjustments, and there we go. Klaas, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. This looks a nice setup. I like it.
Thank you very much. I love graphic design. You know, it's been something that I've been, it's like finding the artist in me, right? Being able to give me all these tools to be able to do these things. So I really appreciate that. So wow. Let's start with. Obviously, you're from you said you're from the Netherlands, right? We talked a little bit prior to the show, and so give me a little bit of your background, how you got where you're going, and how'd you end up in Spain?
Wow, that's going to be a long story. I'll try to keep it short. Why does any man move away from his hometown, right? That's the simple and the short answer. I've been traveling all my life. I actually studied in the U.S. I went to Western Carolina University for a year as an exchange program. I also did an internship at the Asheville Citizen-Times for half a year. I went to a lot of summer camps in the United States, New Jersey and New York. And besides that, I traveled a lot around Europe and everything. So I always loved traveling. Had a girlfriend, broke up in the Netherlands. She went to Spain. I traveled to visit her once, met one of her friends, fell in love, moved everything over to Spain. That lasted for 6 months. She kicked me out. I decided to stay there. I was having a lot of fun. And then I met my wife over Facebook because I needed some new friends. And she was one of the people on Facebook that I saw that was from the city where I was living in and that spoke English, which was very necessary for me. And yeah, we hit it off, and step by step, we fell in love. And after I can't even remember, 2 years or something like that, we got married. Now we got 2 beautiful sons. We live in Leganés in Spain, which is right in the center. We also moved a lot. We also lived in Barcelona, came back again. Even my parents moved to Spain. They're living in the south of Spain. So it's good. It's definitely good.
That's awesome. Well, Western Carolina. I'm from South Carolina originally.
All right.
Yep. Born and raised in South Carolina. So a long way away from home. I haven't lived in my hometown in over 18 years. I think, over 18 years. And moved away, and a lot of people, if my old friends tell me I've lost my Southern accent, it still comes out every once in a while. I get a couple glasses of wine in me, couple cervezas, right, and and then it may come back out a little bit, or if I talk to somebody on the phone that is back home or visit, right. So I always say that I'm a translator of Southernese, right. I can translate the language,
There
right.
you go.
Yeah. But so what was it like going to Western Carolina?
It was very different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very different. Every single time that I went to the US, I just learned new things because there's just different cultures, right? Um, when I went to New Jersey for the first time for my summer camp, I was 17, and that was different. That was just a whole culture shock, etc. And there was just counselors from all over the US mostly, and actually from several places in Europe as well. And then the last summer year I did, I went actually to Brooklyn to a day camp, and that was 95% Afro American from the projects. So that was a huge culture shock as well, where I had to adapt. And then going to Western Carolina University as well. I mean, yeah, it's just so different. It was different in how the people speak, how they are, how they react, how they see themselves. And I love it. Asheville, for example, is one of my favorite cities. It's so hippie style, laid back. Everybody's friendly to one another, and I really enjoyed that. And at that moment, I was still drinking, and they had like these really awesome bars where they all had their own breweries,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the stuff right there.
Yeah. Asheville is super cool. I used to go up and watch the fall, and I'd go hike on the Appalachian Trail and watch the leaves change,
Yeah,
or not
yeah,
watch
yeah,
it, but go
beautiful.
up there after they had changed and do all of those things. Um, and I started doing that in one of the most stressful times of my life. When I first got into restaurant management, I actually um,
Mm.
had an employee that was having some downtime, and he was confiding in me, and and he was really depressed. And that was when I first really discovered a connection with nature. And when you really can, and I'd seen a article in the newspaper about going on the Appalachian Trail to Hot Springs, Tennessee, and you had to go through Asheville to get there. And that was really one of the first times that I did in my early 20s, where I was like, wow, this is super cool when you can go and really connect with nature that way. But Asheville's a great town, man. It's super, super cool. And
Absolutely, man. It
it
sure is.
is. It is. So, all right, let's just dig into be the me I want to be. And so if you could give like one piece of advice right out of the gate to be the me that I want to be, what would you tell somebody if they were sitting in front of you about the one thing?
Oh, yeah. Become the me I want to be, and then the one thing. Um, know what you want. You
Mm,
sit down and write out your visions of what you truly want in life. Meaning, what do you want your spirituality to look like? What do you want your personal development progress to look like? What do you want your health to look like? Very important. Very important.
yeah. Yeah.
What do you want your relationships to look like with your love, with yourself, with your loved one, with your kids, with everyone else around you? What do you want your business to look like? What do you want your community to look like? Your living environment,
Mm,
and of course, what do you want your wealth to look like? All those 8 areas are very important, and that's what you look like. And you just start planning it out. Just what do you want? If you have a magic wand, what is it that you want? What
mm,
is it that you truly want? Because the trick is that we've been ingrained by society, by our government, by our school systems, how we should live. And, we get real quick to the have a nice house, a garden, picket fence, dog, maybe two. And then own your house, right? So, make sure that you own your house, you buy your house, so you get a lot of debt. And then get married, right? Get kids,
right.
and get a job, and stay in that job forever. That's very important. And all of a sudden you realize it's like, yeah, that's not it. At least that's what happened for me. Now, actually, this year we actually bought an apartment. It's the first time we bought. We never bought before.
Right.
because that's how we lived. We lived as in we just want to travel. We want to, be able to be flexible and move places.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the kids being a little older, we want to, have a little bit more stability for them and have them to give them the opportunity to make friends and be with those friends till they're a little older, and then probably we'll find a new spot to settle in again. I love that. I love the fact that you get to meet new people, and then your group of friends they grow, and then you also learn who your real friends are because it's difficult to stay in contact from distances. And I got friends in the US, in the Netherlands. I got friends in Thailand. I got friends in Australia, Singapore. And it's nice to know, okay, that's a true friend. He still reaches out. Might be a year, right? He still reaches out. So
Right.
Yeah, but that'll be my answer. Just write out your visions and look at it day and night. Don't worry about how. Just look at it day and night. Focus on it. Enjoy it. Feel it. And move. And yeah, that's it.
That's super, super interesting. And that's, the way you describe that is like the future self, right? You're writing out, you're with the end in mind. You're starting with the end in mind. But a lot of people get caught up on the how. The last thing you said was, don't worry about how. Mm-hmm. So how can you, what kind of advice could you give to somebody when they get caught up as like, I got to do this? Say, I want to end up over here. You pick whatever you want, wealth, health, those things, but they want to go, well, I got to do this first or this first or this first. This is how I'm going to get there. Mm-hmm. How would you coach somebody to say, let go of the how and just focus on your end result?
Well, you got to focus on your end result. However, you also got to take action. I mean, just sitting there daydreaming about how beautiful your life is going to look like, for example, what a beautiful house you're going to have, and just sit there and do nothing. I mean, you're not going to get very far, right?
Right.
So you definitely got to do the how. The problem comes with the gap that is between your vision and where you're at right now and the next two steps that you can see. Right. So let's say, for example, we live in an apartment right now. I have envisioned to always be living in this apartment because we love it here. However, I also envision to have a really nice house that is big enough with a lot of land where we can take care of more animals. Because here in Spain, for example, there's a lot of stray dogs, a lot of mistreated dogs, and we would like to take care of that. That's what we've been doing all the time. We had 3 dogs, and 2 of them were actually all 3 were let go. Mm-hmm. 2 were mistreated. The other one we got after he was 3 months old. So that's what we want to do. That's a vision. However, I'm far away from that vision because it's going to bring a certain amount of money, certain amount of knowledge with that, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't have that yet. And I know where I'm at, and I know where I want to go. The danger becomes that because the gap's so big, we lose focus and we lose hope. We lose that passion, that drive. It goes away, right?
Right.
And one of the things that's very important is to make sure that you live happy now, that you are happy now with where you're at. And the biggest thing to that is gratitude every single day for where you're at, for what you have, right? Second is forgiveness. And that one's huge and very important. And a lot of people don't do it. And what I do, for example, with my clients is when they start out working with me, I say, look, for the next 7 days, for the next week, all I want you to do is forgive yourself. Find stuff that you've beaten yourself up over and just picture it and just go, dude, man, you made a mistake. It's all right. Or you did something wrong. It's all right. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Right. Mm-hmm. That they've all said so far, like they feel like the weight just lifting off their shoulder. They feel lighter. They feel more happy just because of that, because we blame ourselves for so much stupid stuff. Right. And then I have them go down to people and they can decide which ones they want, because we all hold grudges against other people. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that they forgive everybody. It's not for them. Right? It's not that you're going to call them and say, hey, look, I forgive you for doing this to me or having done that to me or, kicking me to the curb. For the longest time, I was really upset with, I mentioned like the reason why I came to Spain was for a girl, and she kicked me out of the house.
Right.
6 months in. And not just that, she sent me an email while I was in the Netherlands, like, hey, you got a week to pick up your stuff, and then I want you out of the house, which was very interesting. And I blamed her for a long time. And then I started forgiving her, and not to her. I mean, why would she care? Her
Right,
life goes
right,
on.
right,
But
right,
for me, and it felt so much freer. And I've been doing that. And then you just keep looking at, like, and there's some people that at this, when you start out, you can't forgive yet, right? You
right,
get better at it, you feel more confident. And then you're like, look, I forgive you. And you keep doing that until you absolutely, actually 100% forgive them. And then the last thing, and that one's very important as well, is serving. So every single day I ask myself, how can I go out there and serve others? And that one's very important. So together with those three, you make sure that you live happy now while you're taking action towards making the next step. Because we can't see all the steps. Like, let's say it takes 100 steps to that vision, right?
right,
And it's not 100 steps. It's more or less, and it's never a straight line. We go all over the place, right? And we only see the next 2, maybe 3 steps ahead of us. And
right,
that not knowing is what hurts us, what keeps us then from, and eventually not getting there. Exactly, just having faith, and then gratitude, forgiveness, and serving others will get
right,
you there, guaranteed.
right. And taking action, right? Because like you said, you're not going to get what you're not going to
No.
move unless you actually get up and take action, which is we focus on, or even Tony Robbins says, take massive immediate action, right? And
Absolutely.
it's like you may not know what to do, but you'll learn. You'll be closer, right, by taking action. I mean, like you take this show for instance, right? This is my 11th live show. All right. And Steve Weber from the American Gumption morning show, you probably don't know him, but he was on my podcast and he had a live show. I was like, hey, can I, we talked about me coming on, and I asked him, like, when can we schedule? And he said, you should apply to go on LinkedIn Live, right? It's still in beta. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I applied. 10 days later, I get a message from someone at LinkedIn said, you've been approved. And I was like, oh, now what are you going to do? Right. I never thought that I would have a live show, or I would have somebody on from Spain that was originally from the Netherlands, 11 days in, right, going, let's talk about this stuff. And right. So it was about taking action. It really was.
Exactly.
It's like, and it's like, not even just like, let's do a show once a week. I'm doing it Monday through Friday. Right. So that's 5 shows a week. And I went from doing a podcast, that I would record it, edit it, add in all these other things and put it out once a week. Now I've got like 3 guests a week, 2 solo episodes, and so it's a lot of things coming out of this now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's amazing advice. There's so much science around gratitude, right? People don't even realize how important gratitude is, right? And starting your day with this, like, even if you're thankful for, like, I mean, you pick the weather, right? You could be anything, or the, whatever, right? Or the fact that you have internet, I don't know, and you can research something is amazing to have, where we are with gratitude. Wow. I'm speechless. This is a good thing we're live, right? So I don't know what to ask you next. Oh,
That's all right.
that's amazing stuff, right?
Well,
So
I can. Yeah. So in regards to what you mentioned before, right? So let's say, for example, you absolutely don't know what your next step is, right? That's the moment that a lot of people freeze and then stop, and all the systems that they put in place and all the stuff that they were doing, it drops and it falls apart, which is a pity. However, it's very simple. If you don't know what you're doing, then that's exactly the action that you must take. Just find out what you need to be doing.
right.
Right? Just ask yourself why. Like, okay, what's next? What do I need to do? I don't know what to do. Okay, then that's the action I need to take. I need to figure out what I need to do. You're still taking action, right? Instead of then sitting down like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Right.
No. You don't know what to do. That's fine. Go figure it out, right?
Yeah.
You're not, and let me say this as well. You're not the only one that has been stuck at one point in time at that space in time where you're at.
Right.
There's a lot of people that already went past that, and probably those people, right? And if you don't, then you need to find some communities where you can find those people and be like, listen, I want to go here. That's my little boy. Can you play your game? I don't know where. Oh yeah, here you go. Go ahead. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hello. Hey.
I have new dragon.
You have a new dragon? You mind if I finish? Yeah, go ahead. And close the door, please. Yes? And if it doesn't work, ask your mother, okay?
It's working.
It's working. Okay, good. Be careful of the light, please. Be careful of the light, please. Pay attention to where you're walking. All right, give me a second.
All right.
Come on, watch out for the light. Thank you. There you go. And there we go.
Oh, there we go.
So that's what you do. You're trying to figure out then, how do I get there, right? And some of the times it's not how do I get there, who can get me there?
Right.
That for me was like,
right.
That was from Robert Johnson, who said, stop trying to figure out how, start figuring out the who. And the easiest part is, if you're stuck, is to figure out who has been here and now is further ahead than me, that can, just like that can just ask. Asking doesn't cost you anything. It's just a matter of, hey, listen, I try to get here and I see that you're already there. I'm here and I'm stuck. What's my next step? Most people will tell you exactly what that is. They'll be like, hey, do this. That's it. Right? Whatever that is. It gets you moving so much faster.
Well, they have an outside perspective, right? Sometimes we can't see the forest from the trees, right? You know, with those type of things. And what I love about this process is that it actually opens up this like power of coincidence, right? Because you've taken action and you start going down this path or trail or dirt road or whatever, wherever you're going to get to your end result, which is on top of the mountain. You don't know who you're going to see on the road, right? And you don't know what's going to happen, right? And you may think you need to go right, but you end up having to go left or backwards or any of those type of things, right? Like for instance, I just got a comment from Charles Kimball. We worked. That was like 3 jobs together that I worked with him, probably 8 years ago, and I haven't talked to Charles in probably a couple of years. And so you don't know who you're going to see on the travels, right? As you're going, right. And you're, like you said, asking somebody, and it may be somebody that you don't know or have never met yet, or it may be somebody that you have known in the past that can help you get to, advance forward. But I agree with you. Action is like this force multiplier, right? As long as you're taking massive action, it doesn't matter if it's clean or if it's messy, right? Action is just the important piece of it.
Action is just action.
Yeah. Action is just action.
That's it. It's not messy. Yep. It's not wrong. It's just action, right? You take action to get a certain result. Right. That's it. And then the action is there, and then you can determine, did I get the result that I wanted? Right. And if I didn't, then is it the action that I'm taking, or is it the inaction that I'm taking? Right.
Right.
What are the emotions that drive that action? Right. Are they aligned? And then what are the beliefs that are attached to those emotions? I mean, you get, this is what I teach a lot, you get the bear, right? Right. And the bear, if that's aligned, you just keep going.
Right. Well, people may know what the bear is. I know what the bear is because you and I chatted about it in your Facebook group, right? So tell people what the bear is.
So the bear it stands for, I always go backwards. So if you have a result that you're going for, however, for some reason, you're not getting it, right? So the first step you take a step down is you go to action, right? So let's say, for example, I am working on getting my 6-pack, right? Now it's not about 6-pack. It's about the full thing, but I really try to narrow it down and put something that I can also, physically see.
Right.
So I went for the 6-pack, or I'm going for the 6-pack. So let's say that's the result. And then I notice while I am doing certain things, so I'm taking action, I changed my nutrition system and I changed my exercising system. And I notice, for example, my scale is going up, or I notice that I'm actually not, losing weight, but I'm gaining weight. Then I know that I'm taking the wrong action, right? Or I'm not taking the right action. Now, when I see that, look, this is what my coach gives me, because I have a health coach, right? So this is what he gives me, and I am not doing it. There's something holding me back, meaning the emotions that I have. Like, I used to hate push-ups.
That's my jam, man. I love push-ups. I do them all the time.
I truly enjoy them now as well. Like 5 times a day, I go down and I do my push-ups, right?
Right.
And I love them now. I used to hate them, right? I used to love them, then I hated them, then I love them. So you find out what's that emotion behind the action that I need to take to make sure that I take them, right? I don't like push-ups. Why don't I like push-ups? Well, the belief is that if you can't do 50 push-ups at once, you kind of, you're not strong. So why the hell are you doing them? Well, that's exactly why you do them. You're trying to get strong. It doesn't matter if you can do 50, right? Why not split it up and do 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 5 times, and now you reach your 50 as well. That took me a little bit. Once I got that aligned again, now I'm loving push-ups. Now I went real quick from 5 times 10 to 5 times 20, right? So it's all about that. Now it's just, simple. I hope it's a simple example. However, that's how that works. That's how that works when you go live. And it's oh, I'm so afraid of going live. Okay, what's that emotion behind that? Why is that? And what's the belief behind that you've got with yourself, right? People are going to make fun of me, or I can't do this, or whatever it is that over time has instilled itself as a belief. Now it's time to change that. Change the belief, change the emotion. Now the action is going to be different, right? Now the results are going to be different because everything else is aligned. So that's the bear, and he's nice, fuzzy. And I like to hug my bear a lot.
It's funny because, I when I first heard it laid out this way was from, and this is, you call it BEAR, BEAR, which is beliefs, emotions, actions, results, right?
Yep.
The first time I was thoughts, feelings, actions, results was the first time that I heard it. So very similar way of doing it. So I explained it kind of that way in that post I did in your group, and you replied with, "That's the bear, right? That's what that is." Another way I've heard this is from, and this is David Bayer, Bayer, from MindHack. And I don't know if you ever heard of him or not. He's got I think USA Today said his business program is like one of the top 3 business programs, and they start with mindset. And he says that, the same thing, your beliefs determine your emotions, determine your actions, determine your results, right? But your decision is the 2 millimeter shift that you can make that can change your belief. And so what happens is that we have to decide something differently, right?
Sure,
right in the beginning to change our belief, right? So it's an interesting thing. Like you're saying, like somebody may have, let's say you use a number, somebody makes $50,000 a year, and they decide all of a sudden that they sit down and do this process where they write out they didn't want to make $100,000 a year, but they've only made 50, right? Well, there's something they change their result, so their action has to change, right? Their emotions have to change, and their beliefs have to change for them to be able to make that double their income, right? And to do that, and it's gosh, we're such on the same page. Maybe that's the reason why I'm a part of your group, right? It's like, but it's there is this such an amazing process when you understand that, and like your interaction with your son. How old's your son that just came in to get his game?
He's 4.
He's 4, right? And I'm sure you know this, but a lot of our listeners may not know this. But the first 6 years of our lives, our brains are in theta wave state, right? And they act as a video recorder, right? So it's like a meditative hypnosis state that we're in for the first 6 years of our lives. And then basically age 7, it switches and plays back everything it sees, right? You could have had a completely different interaction with your son. Hey, I'm on this call. This guy's in America. I told you I didn't want to be interrupted, right? And it could have been a negative experience, where before it was like, hey, you embraced him. You came in, you had a conversation with him. Oh, here's your game, right? Don't trip over the light. You helped him. You got up from behind the computer. If you need help with your game, if it's not working, talk to your mom. And so that was a beautiful, beautiful exchange that you had with him. And you're teaching him how to treat your grandkids, right now in the same situation. You are, because his experience with that is it's a programming thing. So what is passed down generationally is not only just genetics, but also this programming of how we handle stress and how we handle situations like that. Our emotional intelligence, our dining habits, our eating habits, our sleep habits, our hydration habits. Also, and I'm up on my soapbox right now. I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but it's such an amazing piece that you just did right there. And so if you want to expand on that, we can talk about that. And then it's a great segue into talking about, fearless fatherhood and the fatherhood movement, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the most important thing I hear a lot of people say, look, I'm in time, right? I don't have the time for this. I don't have the time for that, whatever that means. For me, it means that you don't have priorities of what comes first, right? So I started studying and looking and reading a lot of stuff in regards to how does that work? How does what's actually the most important thing for me? Now, I'm not a religious person. I am a spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
So I always said like your spiritual connection, that comes first, right? And then you come first, meaning like, me, I come first,
Right.
right? Unapologetically, I come first, meaning like, whatever's going on in the house, if it's my time and I schedule that, it is my time. And the kids know that. Um, and however, if they still come in, they still get interrupted. It's okay. But I try to, because I gotta fill my cup up. My cup's gotta be full because it's 6:30 in the evening now. I got up at 6:30. I don't get up very very early, but that's 12 hours already, right? My cup's got to be so full that by the time you and I are on, it's still overflowing. I still got tons to give to you, and I know how to do that. So that's what I focus on, and then I focus. Then the next most important thing is my partner, right? That took me a while, by the way. It was always my kids first. And actually it was first my business, then my kids, then my partner. That didn't go so well. And you know, yeah, just being honest.
Yeah. That's a recipe that doesn't bake a cake. That doesn't make a really tasty cake, right? Yeah, bad recipe. Yeah.
So I put my wife right after myself, and then my kids come.
Mm-hmm.
And then come my business, then come the impact that I want to make. Meaning that we're on the show, and that's no disrespect. It's just like that's who I am. So my kid comes first. Now that took me a while to get there, but it makes it nice for a stream, and everybody understands it in the end. We're so worried about what's Scott going to say, or what's Gina and Charles going to say. The fact that I interrupt the show, and people are like, dude, that's so cute. A little 4-year-old. He is really cute. So I got lucky there as well.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
His mother. What can I say? So, I focus on that. And in the end, I start noticing like people are actually really cool with it. So we put so much stuff in our minds, and then we blow up thinking that, that's what everybody else expect. Like people are expecting me to be here and not be interrupted. Dude, I got a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old that they're kids. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to be kids, and they're going to come. And, some people say like, look, I have a lock on my door. All right, cool. I don't. I have a knocking policy. I tried that. It worked for a little bit with the older one. He does it sometimes. And I was like, you know what? It's if that's the worst thing that happened today to me, then, I had a really, really, really good day. So,
yeah. Well, it's an amazing thing. I've found that, we lived in the Caribbean for a couple of years. I was managing the food service for an oil refinery down there. And when you live like you've lived in other countries, right? And so you learn different cultures that way. And by the way, I'm married a New Yorker and I'm from South Carolina. So you can imagine how confused my household is, right? Yeah. We have like traditional Italian, pasta, one night, which I'm keto, I don't have, but my kids will have. And then we'll have like barbecue the next night. So there's like, we have this whole range of just foods and different ways of thinking, right? Those type of things. But we noticed when we lived in the Caribbean on St. Croix that, which the Netherlands has a history with St. Croix as well, right? But my point being is this, is that they would actually acknowledge our kids, right? Where in America, when we see friends, right, they would just acknowledge us, and our kids were kind of like expected to be off to the side. They weren't acknowledged. Very few people said, "Hey, hello, how are you doing?" And so different cultures act that way and respect it in different ways. And I think, COVID is, probably, allowed us to have more, because most people are working from home now, and kids are just going to, like you said, be kids and interrupt, with that. And so I love your approach to fatherhood. And it took me, being an American, being type A driven, super competitive, I haven't learned all those lessons that you have learned with your kids. And so My son's 18, my daughter's 13. She knocked on the door yesterday, and I had finished with the live stream show, but she's like, I didn't want to interrupt you. And I was like, it's okay. And so this is new too, because I've always worked outside the house, right? Managing restaurants, right? So me to be home for what's going on 7 months now is an odd thing, right? For us to be home. But my kids are homeschooled. My wife is at home, and
Nice.
my son's going to start college this next semester. So, but still be at home and those things. But the example we set for them is more important than anything that we could tell them to do or tell them to read or a video to watch or those type of things. And so I commend you for that. It's amazing.
Appreciate it. It's a lesson, man. I'm far from where I want to be, which is good. I mean, anybody that is willing to, keep working on themselves and becoming a better dad, becoming a better person, becoming a better husband or wife or, father or mother.
Right.
Good. Then just, and again, that's why, and especially as a dad or as a mom, that forgiving yourself then becomes even more important because you do stupid stuff. Like me today being calm doesn't mean that tomorrow I'll be just as calm, right?
Right.
It's not like that. Like this is normal. It should be normal. However, there's moments that he just drives me nuts. Now he might not be even different than he is right now. However, something else might have happened within me, or I don't know, right? And then it's just like, okay, how do I respond to that? Right. And then it's like, okay, I got to forgive myself and I got to make sure that he knows. So I immediately, as soon as it clicks with me, like, ooh, that was not the response that I wanted or that he deserves, then I immediately go to him. I give him a big hug. I said, look, daddy was being stupid. Right. You forgive me. They always do. Sometimes they even notice it. That's how smart kids are. If they notice like this is the base and you're out of the base. However, they know that if you're out of the base, that you immediately go to them and give them a hug. If they see me out of the base, they give me a hug now. They just look at me and go like this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm wrong. So intelligent. It diffuses me immediately. It's the one thing that diffuses me and they know it. Like the oldest one is amazing at it. He comes all the time. He just immediately, or he stands on the couch and immediately goes, come on, hug it out.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the power of knowing like, okay, this is the new normal. What's the next step? And if we don't go, then how do I get back? And how do I make sure that everybody understands like, oh, I made a mistake? And be honest, just, hey, look, I made a mistake. Apologies. And let's see how we can make this right. And then we move forward again, back to the normal and try to improve from there.
Right. That's amazing. And that your kids have picked up on that, right? And it probably has to do a lot that you're there all the time, right? And you're trying to balance all the things that are going on, right? Which is a blessing, right? Because we didn't, up until with industrial age and stuff like that is when we started working outside the house. Before we were farming and all those type of things, and we were together and we learned from people, our family, by being with them and doing things with them. So this is we're getting back to that, but in a digital way. One of the things that you mentioned, and most people don't really understand this concept, and I'd like for you to expand on it more, is that we always think that we have to put others first and serve others first, but you said you have to fill your cup first and put yourself first unapologetically. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I want to learn more about that.
Sure. It's actually a pretty simple concept. I mean, if you step in a plane, right, the first thing they tell you, if the air pressure drops and then the mask comes down, put your mask on first and then put it on somebody else. Because if you can't get any oxygen, you can't, you're going to pass out and then you definitely can't help whoever you need to help.
Right.
And that's the basic principle. And what I always say is I try to fill up my cup because it's my cup. And if I'm full, right, if I'm energetic, I can give this. If I'm not, I can't, I can't convey, I can't communicate the same message. Right. And that's why I start filling it up first. I start really looking at, okay, what is it that I need? And I'm still improving on that, by the way. However, my cup now is full and overflowing that I can just look at how can I even make it go crazy, right? So I added something at 11:30. I drop everything. That's what I'm working on. I gotta be honest. I'm working on that. I did it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today didn't go so well. But 11:30, I drop. I turn on the computer. I turn on TV. I connect my phone with the TV on YouTube, and I have this really cool guy that does dancing stuff on YouTube, and I just start dancing. I always said I want to dance, and I'm 42 now. Never really danced, and now I'm just learning. Like, look, I feel ridiculous. People are telling me like, "Go live, show it," and I'm supposed to do that in the group "Become the Me I Want to Be," which you're a part of. I have yet. I feel very unconscious because it's something that I've never done, and I always wanted to do it. I feel like I got 2 left feet. Actually, I do have 2 left feet. I will do it, right? But it's just like, I love this. Let me get the feeling. I just love doing it. It gives me such a good feeling. It fills me up instead of being the whole day working like crazy, like I used to do when I was in 9 to 5. I'm like, I'm dumb. That's exactly why I went out of the 9 to 5, right?
Right.
So I'll work a couple of hours, do that, come back, do another hour, and then relax again. And then I go pick up my sons, right? So, and that's important for me. And then we, I work a little bit because that's exactly the moment that I need to post something on Facebook because it's the perfect time for me. And then I take care of them again, right? So it's lunch, and then I got to help them with their homework. And then I was noticing it's like the only moments that we're connecting is when I drop them off from school, when I pick them up again, and when I'm helping them with their homework and with their morning system and the progress system, which we've installed for them as well to, besides school, develop more things.
Right.
And I started to notice that's the only thing I'm not connecting with them when it comes to puzzling or playing with the Legos. We all love playing with the Legos, right?
Right.
I do too. Just so people know,
Yeah.
I'm like, when it comes to the Legos, I'm the biggest kid in the house. So, and then also I started to say, wait a minute, if I can do that for me, saying like, look, I'm just going to time block and schedule from 11:30 to 12, I'm dancing. Okay, so from now on, from 5 to 5:30, just to see how it goes. I started this week, actually. It's Lego time. Don't care what else is on, what else I have to do. I just drop it. I know I have to do it later. It will still be there unless it's a call, right? I drop it and we go play Legos. And that's what we've done. And it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic because there's more to life than just being just working. There's a lot more. And it fills me up. And if also that fills up my cup because I love spending time with my kids. So as it's selfish not being selfish, because it's so important that our kids get our time. And at the same time, it's really selfish because I love doing it. I love playing Legos, and I love playing Legos with them, right? So again, I'm filling up my cup during the day. Then I come back, I do another hour work, and then, it's time to have dinner and then just wind down. And then at night, the kids go to bed, and then I spend my time with my wife. And that being really specific with your time and deciding, like, that's why I mentioned before, right? Remember when I said, people always say like, I don't have the time for this. I don't have the time for that, right? Do you really want it? Like, how high is it on your list, right?
Right. Do
you really want that? Because if not, then it's, of course, you're not going to have the time for it, and it's okay, just leave it. But if it is important, then just schedule it in. Just say, unapologetically, I need to spend 15 minutes of time, boom, boom. Like I had some clients, they really needed to reconnect with their God, right? Which is great. As I mentioned, spirituality is the most important thing. How important is spirituality for you? No, it's the most important thing. Then why are you not doing it? No, because, blah, blah, blah. And then, I get up and then this happens and that happens. All right. So let's start with 5 minutes. Let's start with 10 minutes, specifically just saying at that moment, everybody knows that's what I'm doing. Just schedule it in. And before he knew it was 30 minutes. And now he was, every morning, boom, 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 boom. And he felt better and you noticed it, right? We need that.
Right.
So I love that. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate that.
Well, the same thing happened with me yesterday. My wife and daughter were going to go out to a friend's house, and I had finished doing the live show, and I went down to get another cup of coffee, and I could tell my daughter really wanted to engage with me, right? And so we actually ended up practicing some martial arts together for like 30, 45 minutes, right? And I just, like, in my mind, there was this pull, like, I got all these things I need to do. But I like put those to the side, and I spent that time with her. And that was an amazing time. It's the best time of my day was spent just hanging out with her, teaching her a couple of things, watch a video and really kind of advance, on just like hanging out with her, really, right?
Mhm.
Teaching her a couple things, right? She got to kick my butt a couple times. She landed a couple good kicks, right?
There you
And
go.
so it was pretty cool, right? And so you're right, right? Taking care of ourselves, right? Because we're all one, right? We're all one on this planet, right?
Mhm.
And if Klaus doesn't take care of Klaus, and he doesn't have anything to give the community or anything to serve, right? And I'm the same way. I've always wanted to learn to dance, and I've done that sometimes, with those type of things, right? Where I want to learn something, and I focus on that. And that's cool that you're doing that, and I can't wait to see that on the live stream when you actually put that up. So
I'll do it next week.
share the YouTube that you're doing in advance, the link in advance, and I'll try to do it at the same time that you're doing it. Right. So,
All right. Well, it'll be in the group. So
okay. It'll be in the group. So what's the name of your group on Facebook in case people want to join?
It's Become the Me I Want to Be.
Okay. And how'd you come up with that?
I have no idea. That's hilarious. So it was actually my coach helped me with that. So
Okay.
I have a fantastic coach, and a year ago, actually, at the end of 2019, I would still had become a fearless father. I was fully focused on entrepreneurs that are dads, and I was enjoying it. And I wasn't enjoying. Something was missing. I was enjoying it, but something was missing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then I started connecting with him. He started coaching me, and we figured out what I was missing was feminine energy. I was missing women.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "The Me I Want to Be," and apparently it's a book and it's a website. So we couldn't choose that. And then he said, "What do you think about Become the Me I Want to Be?" And what I do in those cases is I don't think logically. I listen to my heart. And I take some time for that. I have some exercise. We talked when we talked before. Remember the guy that you mentioned that's a lot about breathing. And so breathing,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So breathing really helps us calm down. And then when I feel really calm and connected, I just breathe in real deep and ask the question. And with the big things that are very clear for you, it goes like that. And it was within a minute. It was like, yep, that's it. That's it.
Right.
Become the Me I Want to Be is absolutely perfect. And the moment I started, it just went boom, 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 boom.
Right.
It just started clicking. Like I got John Lee Dumas on my show, which is huge. Entrepreneur on Fire. I mean, dude's had millions of downloads a month on his podcast. To me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The vision so far, at the moment, it's still crazy. I'm going to have Alex Sharfin on next week. He's in that same space. Like he's I think a little below or about the same as Tony Robbins and those guys. So the huge guy as well. And that's just because once that clicks for you, asking those people becomes so much easier. It's like, hey, John, you feel like coming on the show? Right? I don't know you. I got a real cool show. It's about this. And because your name stands out, people are like, yeah, I love that. I love that because they feel the connection with that. And they feel like, they need new audience as well. That's why they want to come on your show, right? So we can really help each other out. And all of a sudden you got great people. And now, we mentioned that before as well. Now I'm like, all right, now it's time to reach out to Wim Hof, reach out to Sir Richard Branson, which is my number one. Mm-hmm. And just, I got an approach for that as well. However, you need that confidence a little bit, right? Because at first you get in your head like, yeah, who's gonna come on my show, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to come on my show? I got no audience who wants to come on my show, right?
Yeah.
And the group, like I go live in the group. The group is just something extra, right? So the people in the group, that's it. I used to go live on my profile and stuff like that and put it everywhere so everybody could see it. No more. Like if you want to be able to ask a question to John Lee Dumas or Alex Sharfin or all the people that I'm going to get, Sir Richard Branson in the future, very near future. He hasn't said yes, by the way, but I know he will.
He said yes. It's just in the future.
Yeah, he said yes. He just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So once you got that, then you get that confidence, right? And then I like to keep that close as an extra, but it's for my podcast. Mm-hmm. So it's just like now I got something extra for people to come in a group and they can enjoy that once a week. However, everything else will be on the podcast, and that's what it's focused on. And it's a lot of fun doing it that way, and they get really excited. And I keep it short, right? I used to do just like you right now, and it's fine. I'm not saying anything against it, but I used to do an hour, and I stopped doing that. I do 25 minutes right now.
Right.
It's easier, it's faster, especially. And I used to do that as well. When you do 5 shows a week, it gets crazy. It gets crazy real fast. Like, you want to be on LinkedIn, you want to be on Facebook, you want to be on YouTube, you want to be on the podcast. And I decided, that's it's crazy. One week I did 8 live interviews in a week, and I did 5 in a day, and I was exhausted, and I was yelling at my kids, and I was arguing with my wife. And then the next day I was calm, and I said, you know what? I know what it is, and it will never happen again. And from that moment on, boom, done.
Right. It was next month will be a year. I decided to do my first podcast, which was called the Restaurant General Manager Podcast.
Nice.
And I was manager of a restaurant in Santa Monica, California, right across the street from the pier. And so
Nice.
I was doing all my interviews on my day off. Right. And so there was one Monday, because I would take Sunday and I would do all like my social media planning and all that type of stuff, and go to church and those type of things. And then Monday I would do an interview, and I do all that interview prep on Sunday. Well, there was one Monday I had 2 interviews, and I was so wiped out from like all the stuff I had to do to get ready for that. And then like go back to work on Tuesday morning, right? And the LA commute and, all of those things. And so I've been there. I'm not there with this show yet, right? This is my 11th episode of doing the live show, and we're 51 minutes in. And I love long form. I think an interview needs to be as long as it needs to be, And I haven't had a live go over an hour and 5 minutes though, because I think a live is probably slightly different. Some of my podcasts I haven't gone Joe Rogan or Tim Ferriss 2.5 hour style yet. I haven't gotten to that point, but I've gone almost 2 hours on a podcast. When you get an interesting, guest on, right? There's so many things to add into there. And so absolutely. I want to back up 1 second, because we've talked about this bear. So the beliefs, emotions, actions, and results, right? And you always start like as an algebra problem, you start with the result and you got to figure out where you're going to, go the other way. One of the things you've mentioned a couple of times is that people believe I don't have time, right? And so that's the belief that fits into this formula, right? This, results type formula, right? Where you're going, right? And so how can somebody like change the belief that I don't have enough time, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough? Who would want to come on my show if I had a show, right? Why would they want me to interview them? So how would you coach one of your clients on this, changing their belief that end up changing emotions, actions, and then results?
Start asking the right questions.
Okay.
Right? So people are saying, I don't have enough time. Why would somebody come on my show? Right? That's all lack of abundance. So why would somebody not come on my show? Somebody should come on my show. I mean, really? Right? Everybody should come on Scott's show. It's that simple, right? Why not? Like, why shouldn't they? Plus, who am I to decide if somebody else is ready or not to come on my show? However, if I don't ask, then I keep them from the opportunity to say yes or no.
Right.
So to give you an example, I connected with Cannell, I believe I can't remember his name. He's really big on YouTube, has a channel with, I think now 1 million subscribers. Brought out a book, The 7 Secrets of YouTube or something like that, or to be successful on YouTube. And Sean Cannell, that's it. Sean Cannell. And I reached out to him. Like, wow, this guy's big. I would love to have him on the show. I mean, I was myself into YouTube. And they said no. Because they were looking for shows of an audience of 10,000 or more.
Right.
And I was like, all right, I respect that. I wrote that down. Once I have 10,000 downloads, guess who I'm going to connect with?
Yeah, I'm going to call you back, right?
Guess what? A month after that, they connected with me. Hey, listen, Sean's looking for shows to come on to promote his new book. Are you still interested? I'm like, absolutely. I still don't have 10,000 subscribers, though. Whatever you want. And they still decide to come on. Guess what? It becomes even better. we scheduled in. He didn't show up. They made a mistake. They ended up sending me his book, signed and everything by him, which I love because it's my side mission. You know, everybody they have on the show that actually written the book, I want the book signed and everything. Make a nice collection. And they gave me a program that he has in regards to YouTube to also be part of. So I was like, man,
Wow.
right? And that it all comes from just ask, right? Just
Right.
ask. Like Alex Sharfin, same thing. Huge. Asked him the first time, never said yes. Asked him now, all of a sudden he said yes. Connected with him, start talking to him on LinkedIn. He communicated. I said, hey, listen, you know, I had John Lee Dumas on the show. You're right up my alley. I would love to have you on the show. I actually know, and I know now a couple of people that know him, right? And I know so-and-so and so-and-so, and they speak so highly of you, man. I would love to have you on the show. Would you be interested? He's like, yes. And he sent me a link to connect with his secretary, right?
Right.
Now, and I know for a fact they also have, you know, you have to have like, I don't know, 5,000 or 10,000 subscribers. So, and they still say yes, right? So that's how that comes. So when it comes to beliefs, we really have to look like and ask ourselves, is that belief true? Like, is it really true? Like, is it really true that I don't have enough time? Like, is that true? Like, how is it possible that I don't have enough time? However, there's other people that do way more. Like Oprah Winfrey is a great example. It's crazy what she does.
Right.
She has the same amount of time as 24 hours a day.
Right. Exactly.
So,
You know, I found the same experience, right, from asking people to come on my show, right? I've gotten I had a professor from Cornell University who wrote a study on the cost of turnover in hospitality. Came on my said yes. Sent him an email. Found his email online. Sent him an email. Told him who I was, what I was doing. Came on. We rapped about hiring and turnover, the cost of turnover, and all of these things. And then when I started the Modern Longeveritarian podcast, Dr. Mindy Pelt, she has 170,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Nice,
right? And said yes. Came on the show. Loved the episode. I get people I'm on her about page, so people send people to the show that she was on, the podcast episode. So I get traffic to my website from that. And I reached out to come on the live show, and she says, I'm too busy, right? Her assistant says she's booked through the rest of the year. Reach out to us in January, right? And so if you have a show or thinking about a show, one of the things is, in the story with your guy, is that look for people who are in promotion mode, right? Because they're more likely to say yes at that particular time, because they're looking to promote no matter what size show you have, right? So you're looking for people in promotion mode. And then once you establish that relationship, she then recommended Brian Sanders, who's putting out a documentary called Food Lies, and I got him on the show, right? And so, and we had an episode there, so it kind of starts trickling. Next week, and I'm tagging, next week I've got 3 guests, and Gina's one of them on Thursday. But Farmer Lee Jones, you probably don't know Farmer Lee Jones, but he's this famous farmer in Ohio that's been on the Food Network. He's been in Atlantic Magazine, every major network you can think of. And I noticed he had, I sent him a message on LinkedIn, and he said, absolutely, connect me with his assistant. We set it all up. They actually are sending me a box of produce. I'm getting it today some point. And so I've got to make some really cool food this weekend and have some pictures of it so I can show what I made with this food he's sending me, which is amazing, right? And so I never would have thought that I'd be able to interview these type of people and they would come on the show. But if you never ask, right, the answer is always no, right? Exactly. Ask, right? You're right. Yep. And so anyway, we're getting on the 1 hour mark here. So Klaas, I know it's like getting close to 7 o'clock your time, and you want to spend time with your family and your wife and all those things. So before we move on, where can people find you online?
As we mentioned before, I got a group on Facebook, Become the Me I Want to Be. And the website's becomethemeIwanttobe.com. You can connect with me personally on Facebook as well. I'm mostly on Facebook. It's easy to shut off.
Right, yeah.
So I just love Facebook. It's a great way to connect. And it's just my name, Klaas van Oosterhout. I don't think there's many of me out there, so it's easy to find me, connect with me. I'm friends with Scott, so if you see that, then it's easy to connect. And yeah, reach out, talk. I'm big on productivity and taking action and making sure that you move forward fast towards achieving your visions and then coming up with great new visions for your life. So that by the time that you say goodbye to this life, you're fulfilled, you're happy, you don't have any regrets. And I think that's the most important thing that we can leave behind, and that we'll leave behind a nice legacy for our kids. I think that's huge.
It is. And so for anybody who's listening now, I do want to say I'm a member of his group. I engage he asked some really cool questions. One is like, what's one thing you learned? And I said to keep my mouth shut. And he responded with, how'd you learn that? I haven't learned it yet. So I was like, I first realized it at 30, and it took 18 years before I actually got pretty good at it. So that's just a funny one to really think about. So Klaas, thank you for coming on the show, man. It's been amazing.
Thank you for having me, man.
You and I have a lot in common, and we believe a lot of the same things, practice a lot of the same things. My life coach has taught me a lot of the same things that you've been taught by your coach, and she's the reason why modern longevitarians even in the world,
Nice.
because she really, and her name's Malia, and we're working on a couple projects together as well. And so it's been an amazing ride, and having a coach is really a cool thing. So I'm gonna let you go spend time with your family. Thanks for coming on, and we'll continue to connect on Facebook and LinkedIn and all those other places. Thanks.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. We are going to switch over to this. This is pretty much the show. It's a wrap. And here we go. Scott Stanfield here. It's my Friday. It is my Friday. And Klaas came on the show. Can't thank him enough for all this great insight he gave us. And it's been amazing. It's been an amazing interview. I learned so much from it, and also about the fatherhood thing, because us here in America, we push so much. It's hard sometimes to really connect as a parent, right, to our kids. And that's something that we probably should learn through this COVID, experience that we're going through, and that life is short, right? And we need to experience our families more, and be kinder to them, and not push so much just to try to achieve something. So again, Scott Stanfield here. It's my Friday, and if it's your Friday, you have a great weekend. Cheers.